Emojis are one of those things you don't really think about because it feels like they've always been there. But they haven't. They're barely older than an iPhone. And that got me curious because apparently at one point we decided that regular language just isn't cutting it anymore. And we need a couple thousand little pictures to go on top. So I wanted to figure out where they actually came from, why we started using them, and what that says about the way humans communicate. Picture this. Someone texts you just one word. Fine. You have no idea what that means. Was that fine, like genuinely fine? Or was it a sarcastic fine? Now, picture the same person saying it to your face. Easy, right? You don't even have to think about it. The half-second pause, the shrug, you'd know instantly. Now, watch this. That kind of helps, doesn't it? That's the strange thing about text. Because for most of human history, talking meant standing in front of someone, face to face. And their voice, their eyes, their gestures, those matter almost as much or more than the actual words that they use. But with text, all of that is stripped away. You have almost nothing to go on except letters on a page or a screen. So if text loses so much emotion, how did we ever make it work? Well, we patched it. First with punctuation. Then, in 1982, a computer scientist proposed making jokes with a colon, a dash and a bracket, a sideways smile. Then Japan took it further. In the late 90s, on early mobile phones, a set of tiny pictures. Weather, faces, a heart, emoji. Not the same word as emotion, by the way. That's a common misconception. It's actually Japanese for picture character. The resemblance is an accident, though a highly useful one. And then it spread, faster than almost anything in the history of writing. Within a couple of decades, those little faces were on every phone on Earth. So that's your quick answer. We invented emoji to put the tone back into messages, so you can know what the message is supposed to feel like, not just what it says. Except, that explains why they exist, but it doesn't quite explain what they turned into. Because if emojis are just tone markers, quietly doing their small job, then all of them should be quite straightforward and mean exactly what they show. But they don't. Take the skull, for example. At first, it meant what a skull means. Death, danger, something's gone wrong, the dark mark. But now it means you're laughing so hard that you've died. Same picture, but quite opposite meanings, don't you think? And the crying face went the exact same way. Half the time, it's not about sadness at all. It's laughing until you can't breathe, or something that's so cute that it hurts. And then there's the blue cap. As a picture, it's just a hat, but it means you're lying. And notice how these came to be. It wasn't planned, there was no announcement or software update. Apple or Google didn't redraw the skull or decide that a hat means lying all of a sudden. One person or a group of people started using it in that way and it stuck. All of a sudden, that just became its meaning. But then, if nobody announces these meanings and nobody agrees to them, who decides what an emoji actually means? The honest answer is that there's 3 different groups involved, each controlling a piece of the puzzle. Firstly, there's this small non-profit called the Unicode Consortium. They decide which emoji should exist, assigning each one a slot and a code number. For instance, Unicode U+1F480 is an emoji for skull. They decide what exists, but they don't decide what it looks like. Then there's the companies, Apple, Google, Samsung. They take each of these approved emojis and draw it however they see fit, which is why the same emoji can look entirely different depending on which phone or OS you're using. And then there's you, all of us, the people actually typing. People decide what it actually means. Okay, this arrangement means no one party is truly in charge of emoji, and that has some unintended consequences. Up until 2016, the pistol emoji was, on most phones anyway, a real pistol, an actual handgun. People used it for threats, for jokes, for 100 different things. But then Apple decided to redraw it. Overnight, that realistic gun became a bright green water pistol, a toy. After a while, Google followed suit. One by one, all platforms swapped the weapon out for a water gun. If you go back and open a message somebody sent you with the gun emoji 10 years ago, it's not a handgun anymore. Even though you never edited the message, it changed meaning somehow. And that's genuinely strange when you think about it. Because writing wasn't supposed to do this. A letter from 500 years ago still says exactly what it said back then. The ink doesn't move while you're not looking at it. Sure, what the words mean to us can drift over time, but the actual marks on the page, the actual message itself, is preserved. And digital text just quietly broke that deal. In a way, digital text is software. It can get updated, tweaked, removed, changing the meaning of your messages retrospectively. So, what exactly are emoji? Many people have tried to argue that emojis are a language, but it's not quite, is it? A language conveys meaning by itself, and an alphabet has building blocks, vowels, consonants, that you can combine to build into virtually anything. They're closer to Chinese characters or hieroglyphs, which are logograms. The difference, of course, is that you cannot communicate purely through emoji. Every real writing system can carry a message on its own. Emojis can't, and they're not supposed to either. Nobody's texting in pure emoji. At least I hope so. That would be insane. Emojis don't replace text, they sit next to it. It's a composite. They're supposed to replace a smile that you can't hear over a phone, or the raised eyebrow that you can't see. Emojis are not a new alphabet, they're body language. A little shrug, a grin, a grimace, a wink. Context changes everything. And that's what emojis do. They add that context back, at least to some extent. The moment you start seeing them as body language, everything makes sense. This, fundamentally, is about human communication. Different mediums are restrictive in different ways. For instance, a letter doesn't convey your voice, and a voice note doesn't convey your gestures. Text conveys neither. So emojis are a tool that give us a way to put some of that emotion and context back into text. That's what it's all about. First, we used semicolons and brackets. When those weren't enough, tiny little yellow smileys. And now emojis, GIFs, memes. That's the real reason we invented emojis. Somewhere between a real conversation face to face and a screen in our hands, we dropped a few crucial pieces of information. And with emoji, we found a way to put them back.